So a new batch of congressional subpoenas makes clear that the House Select Committee is working its way up the insurrection food chain. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So it looks like it's starting to rain subpoenas on Trump-associated ne'er-do-wells. Here's the headline from Business Insider. House Committee investigating January 6 Capitol riot issues new subpoenas for Roger Stone, Alex Jones, and others. But friends, rather than reading from some of the news accounts of the day, I actually want to read a short passage from a daily newsletter by historian and Boston College professor Heather Cox Richardson. And if you'll indulge me, a quick public service announcement. If you don't follow Professor Richardson on Twitter, or if you don't get her daily newsletter, can I please recommend you do so? I see Professor Richardson, as I see so many of us, so many of you, as free agent democracy fighters, fighting every day for our republic, fighting for accountability for what Donald Trump and his criminal associates have done to our country. So I will put the information about how to find Professor Richardson in the description of this video, but you can get her daily newsletter, which is free, at heathercoxrichardson.substack.com. And you can find her on Twitter at HC_Richardson. As I say, I'll put all of that in the description for today's video. But here is just some of what she said in this morning's newsletter. She said the mess is deepening. And the mess is the mess that we're all in, the mess that our democracy is in, courtesy of Donald Trump, his criminal associates, and his enablers both in and out of Congress. And the mess is deepening. Today, the House Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol issued 5 new subpoenas to people involved in planning the rallies in Washington, D.C. on January 6th and the subsequent march to the Capitol. The subpoenas went to Dustin Stockton and Jennifer Lawrence, who organized the Women for America First rally, and Trump spokesperson Taylor Buttigieg, who called for a social media blitz. Another subpoena went to Roger Stone, who pushed the rally and raised money for it, and who hired members of the right-wing Oath Keepers, several of whom were at the riot, as personal bodyguards. Right-wing newscaster Alex Jones got one, that is a subpoena, got one too. He helped to organize the rallies, spoke at the one held January 5, and claimed to have provided 80% of the funding for the January 6 rally. Committee Chair Benny Thompson said, "We need to know who organized, planned, paid for, and received funds related to those events, as well as what communications organizers had with officials in the White House and Congress." 2 days ago, Representative Zoe Lofgren, who sits on the committee, told CNN that many of the people they've interviewed so far, more than 200, have been Trump officials who testified voluntarily and wanted to be subpoenaed for, quote, cover, close quote. So let's take on that last piece for a minute. More than 200 witnesses, many of them former Trump administration officials, have testified before the House Select Committee, and they wanted subpoenas as cover. What does that mean? Well, it means they were willing to testify voluntarily, but they wanted to be able to have that subpoena in hand. So if anybody came at them, criticized them, challenged them, they could say, I had a subpoena. That is a lawful command that I must appear and testify, lest I go the way of Steve Bannon and be criminally indicted for failing to appear for contempt of Congress. We're still waiting to see what they're going to do with Mark Meadows on that front, because on the very same day Steve Bannon was indicted for contempt of Congress, Mark Meadows failed to appear. So Mark Meadows has absolutely committed the crime of contempt of Congress. Yes, he might have a slightly better executive privilege claim, but that doesn't mean you get to snub your nose at a lawfully issued congressional subpoena. It means you show up and you answer questions that don't involve executive privilege. And for those questions that do or might approach executive privilege, privileged information, you invoke your claim of executive privilege. You preserve it, and it gets litigated later. That's the way you do it. You know, and there's no backseas in crime. Mark Meadows committed the crime of contempt of Congress, and let's hope Congress is preparing to vote him in contempt and refer him to the Department of Justice for prosecution. But the fact that these witnesses, more than 200 of them, many of them Trump administration officials, have come forward, have testified. They said, please just give me the subpoena as cover, and then I will tell you what I know. It's a good sign. It's a good sign that the House Select Committee is indeed moving up the insurrection food chain, the criminal food chain, hauling in the planners and the funders and the organizers. And next stop should be, and I believe will be, the inciters. Rudy Giuliani, Mo Brooks, Don Jr., John Eastman, and of course the inciter-in-chief, Donald Trump. I believe accountability is coming, friends. Hopefully it won't be too little or too late. But we are all in this mess together. We are all in this fight together. And I do believe we're going to win. Because I still believe that justice matters. Friends, as always, thank you for tuning in to these daily Justice Matters videos. If you would like to more formally support our all-volunteer efforts here at Justice Matters, we're putting up a video every day, 7 days a week. If you'd like to support our mission, our content, our efforts here, you can go over to patreon.com, sign up to become a patron, and if you do, I will send you some Team Justice stickers and a personal handwritten note of thanks. And as always, friends, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.